Welcome, Mel. So we have Melanie Taylor from Success on Purpose today talking about her passion, what she's really good at, and she is changing people's lives. So the premise is, as a business owner, are you struggling to gain control of your time? Is it going faster? Do you feel busier, or you're not going where you want to be? So typically working harder, feeling exhausted and frustrated and powerless is something that Mel works with you so that it takes care of itself. You know how to handle it. So her vision is to empower people to live with purpose and make a difference in their own lives so they can contribute to themselves and to the wider community and the world. So that sounds very exciting, Mel. Can you explain a little bit more how you do that and how you started doing this and anything else that comes up?
Yeah. Well, I think the first place to start with is how I always wanted to contribute to the world. And I was doing a lot of volunteer work. I was an incredible giver. I gave to everybody. I was working as a nurse, palliative care nurse. Specialising in supporting people that were dying at home, and it was the most beautiful job. I absolutely loved it. I felt so fulfilled and rewarded in it, but on top of that I was always doing other things and studying, and I did volunteer work, a lot of volunteer work. I did it for the Canteen, Kids with Cancer. We go away for retreats, for weekends away, and I was a medical volunteer there. I also did work for the Brotherhood of St. Lawrence. I volunteered my time there. And I was looking for inner fulfillment. And I was going outside of myself to find that. And I loved helping everyone, but it was very destructive because I was coming off an empty battery. my battery was absolutely flat, and I was just giving all the time, and I was on this roller coaster of emotions up and down, and lots of anxiety, lots of depression, and life was really hard, and I made it hard because I was so hard on myself. And so fast forward, I've been working on myself now for 10 years, been in business now for 5 years. This is my third year, just clicked over into full-time. I'm not a nurse anymore. I finished up nursing. And I suppose I'm just finding new layers and bits of myself, and coming from a space of being able to contribute more, but not depleting myself. And
exactly. So you found that fountain that keeps replenishing you. And also, I know that you're changing many people's lives. People are really understanding better where they're coming from. Because you helped yourself, and now you're helping others.
Yes, well, this is, and I think with the current, climate of the world, it's a beautiful time to learn to go within and to realise that we have so many stresses in our life. We have so many, our job gives us importance, our money, and when that's all taken away, we're back to the bare basics of who we are. And I feel like I went on my own COVID-19 journey back 10 years ago. So I've already been through this. So I'm very excited for everyone, because it's actually when you find the truth, of who you really are, when you strip back all the layers. And my identity was such a nurse. I was a nurse. I was in every cell of my body. And I remember I went to a business course, and I had this epiphany that I'm not a nurse. It's actually a role that I do. And I struggled for 3 weeks because I felt like the energy almost releasing from my cells, and I went through this void. I was like, well, who am I? I don't know who I am. If I'm not a nurse, then who am I? And so it's been a beautiful long journey, and I just feel really honoured to be able to support others in learning what I learned. And because depression and anxiety are totally misunderstood. It just means that we have belief systems and energy and emotions within us that don't serve, and so there's no energy. And I suppose I'm teaching now people what I would have loved, what we needed to learn at school.
Yeah, and what I heard you say earlier, that for 3 weeks you were lost and you had lost yourself. I remember when I was in my early mid-20s, I was offered to do a Gestalt therapy workshop. And instantaneously, my whole being said, no, because I was so scared. I'd heard a little bit about it, and what I had heard was enough to stop me doing it, because I understood that you would be pulled apart like a puzzle, but then you were left to put it back together again. And I thought, how am I going to do that? And now I would say to people, please go for it. Go for that growth. Go for that personal development. So that's why I love what you're doing, because you give people the opportunity in a safe space to do this, to find themselves and to step up and be more of themselves.
And I honor everyone that's on this journey, because it takes courage. I'm not saying it's an easy journey at all, because you go through a massive withdrawal. You actually detox your whole body of fear, because we're full of fear and stress. And you go through a detox for your brain to make those loving based emotions. So there wasn't only one time when I felt, who am I in the world? There was many. But you just keep going, and you have mentors. I have my mentors, my supportive groups, and then the shift starts to happen and life starts to get easy. You start to have more energy, and then you realize you don't need much. And when you have crises like this going on in the world right now, you realize that you appreciate the tiny, tiny little things, and life became a lot more simple for me over the years as I did the work.
Yeah. So what is the biggest aha moment that you would have had during this transition period?
Okay, well, this is a big one. This is a huge one. I used to suffer from suicide, like ideations a lot. I felt quite, I just wanted to die. Found life incredibly hard and felt so heavy, felt like I was about 100. And it was so many times that life was a struggle. And I remember I was going through one of my periods, and I realised now, because I was addicted to shame. My body loved shame, and that's such a heavy, dense energy. And I was releasing it, and I had a moment where I was like, I'm just sick of this life. I remember I was at the lights, I was driving, and I'm like, I'm just sick of this life. I've had enough, my God. And then something happened. I had this epiphany that was like my higher self was talking to me, and it's like, Mal, not all of you needs to die. It's just a part of you that needs to die. I was like, oh, right, brilliant. And so then as these periods started to happen again, I would just really hook into, what's the belief system I'm holding on to that needs to die? What is the emotion that I'm holding on that I need to let go of? And that was a total transformation for me. And it's really powerful, because I work with people that have, depression and have had very challenging lives. And I'm so excited by that, because it just means that they're very powerful beings. They're here to make a difference. And when you can reframe that for people, they just go, that makes sense. And it's learning how to love shame, love guilt, love fear, love all these emotions, and let them release from the body. But once again, wasn't taught that at school, or no one taught you how to have emotions, how to grieve, that it's actually incredibly important.
Not at all. And I know I've working with clients myself, I have said to many, if you're angry, if you want to scream, just do it. Drive in the car and scream to your heart's content. No one will hear you. And you get rid of that energy. I have found that useful myself a few times, where I was so frustrated with myself and I didn't know where I was going, that I thought, I even, in my 20s again, called a friend and I said, can I come and see you? And she said, yes. And as soon as she opened the door, I said, I need to scream. And she said, go for it.
Oh, beautiful.
And it felt great, because I could get rid of that stress in my body. And also it was accepted by someone who I could trust. So creating that space is important, isn't it?
Oh, so important. And understanding the value of all of our emotions are all equally important.
Yeah.
But we have such a happiness syndrome in society. It's like, you've got to be happy. Well, the only way to be happy really is actually through your sadness, going through periods of grief, and that leads you to new levels of happiness that come from within rather than from without.
Mm. So you have some workshops that you offer online now due to the virus. So you've been doing them for quite a while now. How is that going for you? How do you see people change, and how can you support them through those workshops as well as working one-on-one?
Well, I'll start with the workshops. They've been incredible because what I did was I put together a formula to realize the process that I go through and went through myself that I can teach others. So I call it 7 steps for permission to receive, because receiving is not something that I knew how to do that came naturally. I actually had to learn how to do it. And I find that I attract a lot of people that are the same. Beautiful entrepreneurs. They have what I call the nurse role, the parent role, and also the trophy role, so high achievers, and so get quite addicted to the stress response and love to give to others. So I take them through a process of 7 steps for permission to receive, where I share all my story, because that sets the scene of vulnerability, because a lot of people would look at me, and especially people that don't know me and haven't known me for a long time, but my best friends know me, how I used to be and how I am now, because people can't imagine it. Because I was so shy and quiet, and people are like, no, I can't even imagine it. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. I was up the back of everyone. I didn't have everything. I didn't want anyone to see me. So I explain my journey first, and people just have ahas as I explain my story, and people are like, oh my God, that's me. Yes. So otherwise we have this bit of a facade that we have out there, like, oh, I'm perfect, everything's going great. And I love sharing that I'm certainly not perfect at all, but it's my imperfections that allow me to grow. And so I take people and I explain the science. I also study metaphysics, and plus my nursing background is I love the science, and I explain how the brain works and the body and the emotions. And so then people can understand, and then they feel safe to take on this new information. And then I take them through a process of accessing and getting into the subconscious mind, because that's where all the belief systems sit and come from. And that's what's creating our day, is this 95% under the surface that we can't actually see. So we go through that, and we do some beautiful inner child work, where I teach people skills of how to get into that subconscious mind and connect to that beautiful inner child that has been missing, is feeling unloved. And through the writing and some meditation we do as well. This beautiful connection, tears. I love it. I love it. I love tears. I love crying myself, because it's such a beautiful release, and just the love that comes from within. And the stories I've heard from people that have done the workshop is just, it blows my mind, because everyone has the power within, but you just need support and the tools about how to access that.
Exactly. Another question, Success on Purpose, entrepreneurs and professionals, when they have gone through this process of discovering themselves and acknowledging where they were and where they can go to, and all that, all those steps, how is their professional life changing?
Well, they're more heart-centered. They're connected to themselves. They're connected to other people. So they're coming from a space of being vulnerable, being open. You start to have collaboration, where you just have amazing things start to happen, because there's no one there you're not trying to be right. Everyone's open to, changing things. You move yourself to new heights, because basically life is an energy game. It's learning how to manage energy, and so what happens is you move to new levels of abundance, and so then you attract abundance. Things come left field. We say in metaphysics, persons, places, times and events line up. Life starts to get easier. You start to think, oh, I'd like to do this, yada yada yada, and next thing you know, all of the steps, the things, the people are coming in to support you, and you're like, wow, that was easy. So it's but the biggest thing for me is joy. It makes me emotional. I just love life now, where I really couldn't care less if I was here or not, and now I just love it. And every day is a gift. Every day is exciting. I'm such an inner child. I just live in, wow, I wonder what's going to happen today. It's really exciting.
I'd like to share how we met. It was a BNI meeting, and you were chairing it. And I thought to myself, when I saw you and heard you, I thought, I have to meet this woman. And I was certainly at the time still not very game at stepping forward and saying, hi, you know, I am Anne and I'd like to meet you. But I did. There was something in me that drew me to you, that we had to talk. And I'm glad we did, because I'll mention it here as well. I've done some work with you, and I really, yes, I've benefited from it. So it's, even though I'd done a lot of work on myself throughout the years, there were still things happening for me that allowed me to go even further ahead of where I was. So thank you for that. You're a beacon.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. And everyone can be. That's the thing. You just have to. But yeah, it takes commitment. It takes work. I work on myself every single day. But my word, it's so, so worth it.
It is. It is. Because we all have this capability within us. And I believe strongly that anything we've gone through in life, once you put it in a certain space, you are able to use it as a stepping stone so you can go forward and see the light more instead of the darkness.
Yeah, beautifully said. Everything is, I suppose it's a game, it's a puzzle. And when you can really connect into those challenging situations, then it puts all the pieces of the puzzle together and you find out who you really are. And so those perceived bad situations end up being the greatest thing. Like my broken wrist is one of my things. Anxiety and depression. I look at now like, thank God, that was the best thing ever. If I didn't have those things, then I wouldn't have had enough pain to then take action and start to change my reality. So pain's good. And I think it's really great right now that we're in a pressure cooker. So people are going to start to, change the way that they look at life, the way that they look at themselves. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly. And I read a post on Facebook by someone where she said that people said they wanted life to go back to normal. And she said, I don't want life to go back to normal. I want life to be normal. So we don't worry about superficial things. We get connected again, you know, all those things. So hopefully that is something that can happen as we realize that there's more to life than what we wear, what we look like, and be healthy and active and interacting with others more and being ourselves.
Yeah. Because I'm back in Ballarat at my parents' house. I came back a bit before Easter and stayed here. So, but it's been wonderful because I'm from the country, and you walk along and everyone says hello.
Yeah.
And I was so used to that growing up. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I find a lot in Melbourne that that's not the case. You say hello, good morning, and people just go, oh. Yeah. So my wish is that everyone has that country feel and says hello to people, and it creates this oneness rather than separation.
Absolutely. And I notice on my walks in the mornings too that when you take a wide berth around someone, they smile at you. And quite a few people where we live say good morning. But before that, it was less so. So people understand that when you take a wide berth around them, it's to protect them and to protect yourself as well. Not everyone does it, but certainly many people do.
Yeah.
Which is great. So
right.
Maybe there's a bigger awareness of the people around us when, at the present time.
Yeah, well, how much do I've always been a big hugger anyway, but how much more do we appreciate that, being able to cuddle people and hug people when that gets taken away.
Yeah.
So hopefully the whole world's hugging.
It's like the piece of chocolate that's lying there on the table and you're not allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to eat it. So it becomes more important.
Yeah, you want it.
Yes.
Yeah, I see good things happening on the other side of this for sure.
Absolutely. That, well, I hope so, because with the financial crisis, I was hoping that we would look at um, possessions and money differently as well, but that hasn't really happened. So I hope this time we will realize we're human beings, we're all equal, we're all in this together, and let's make the best of it together.
Well, that's actually when I found abundance within, was when I actually had not much at all. I took myself on a journey of having everything, you know, being a nurse, had money, could travel. And then I went into business and things took a lot longer than I anticipated. And I was forking out a lot of money for professional development coaches and things. And I really dwindled away my funds. And yeah, I was living from day to day, week to week, and it was quite stressful. And that's when I found how abundant I was. I really went to appreciate things, and I realized how supported I was, that everything I needed actually came to me. And it was amazing awareness. And so, how, I don't know, sometimes how do you find that unless things are stripped away?
Yeah. And I notice as well for myself, for example, even when you are aware of abundance, and there are still moments where you get caught up in life and you have to step back again and realize that you've got it all.
Absolutely. I think we've become a bit entitled. We think, you know, we deserve this. And I think this has been great for me. I've just been reflecting on what has been. Like, we've had wars, looking at even how my parents grew up. Like, they had secondhand things. They were happy with simple things. They were caught up with their friends at home. They didn't go out for lunches and brunches and coffees and all this stuff that we do. And I was like, God, we went a bit much, you know, to the extreme. So now I'm really grateful for my weekly coffee. I have a coffee. I go out for a nice walk, and then I'll go and just get a takeaway coffee. And that's just like, wow, how much did I take this for granted?
Yes, I'm still of the generation where I wore my cousin's clothes and my sisters wore mine. So they were all passed down the line. Yeah, we didn't have coffees in the morning either, or lunches. There was a special occasion, really. Or you did it at home. You were hosting at home much more.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for those that want to, it'll be a beautiful time. It'll be a gift. There's others that will go back to their old ways, and that's okay. Yeah. That's their journey too.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. It's there's nothing set in concrete. And with so many businesses closing, so many people will need to find new ways of getting back into employment and business. And I think what you contribute is helping them to be stronger emotionally and more, as you said earlier, more heart-centered. And I believe that will help them to forge their path forward from here onwards.
Yeah, well, people starting, and you know, it's the opportunity to go, actually, what do I really want?
Yeah.
Because I know for me, God, if someone had said to me even 5 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I was like, are you mad? There's no way that's possible. I love what I do. I'm a nurse. It's wonderful. But what I realized is that there's new heights to happiness. There's new heights to fulfillment. Like, there's just more. It's just ever expanding. And so, yeah. And well, this is what I do with a lot of my clients as well, is we realize how we go through this process of birth, school, uni, job, marriage, and then I've had clients that turn around and they go, I don't even think I'm happy. A lot of couples are like, they live on separate islands, you know, and so it's actually bringing everyone back together and then getting into purpose. That's why it's success on purpose. Like, what is success to you? And so my success changed a lot. It's actually about joy, having fun every day. That's all I do. That's my level of success.
But your role hasn't changed. It's the label that has changed, because you're still helping people, but on a totally different level.
Yes and no. Like, I wasn't really, I don't feel like I was empowering people as a nurse. I was helping them.
You were helping them, You were supporting them in that environment. Now you do it on a different level, but you're still helping people but not, now you help them to be their best version. Before you help them to end their lives as best as they could.
Yeah. Well, I learned from death how to live.
Yeah.
And I learned that we have too much stress in our lives, and that is the cause of most things, most diseases. And so grateful to all my patients that taught me that I had to, they're why I am doing a lot of why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I felt I was quite entitled as well. And I was very scared. I was so scared of public speaking. It was my biggest fear. And one day I heard myself and I saw those words come out of my mouth. And I just said to myself, that's not okay anymore. You can't have that story, because all these patients were my age, younger. They would have given anything to have the opportunities I had. And so then I just started to take action, really get into my uncomfortable zone and really learn how to live life, because we take for granted. We think we're going to wake up every day, wake up tomorrow. And I learned that, no, you might not. And so, well, just live every day.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else that you think you'd like to add to this?
Well, I feel like it's a really good time. We always wait for when this happens, when the ducks line up, then I will do that.
Yeah.
But there's no better time now than to be investing in yourself, in the truth of you, and allowing yourself to have, a beautiful life and connection, and especially with family. And the biggest thing is kids don't listen to what you say, but they watch what you do. So they become models of you. So if you're working on yourself and teaching them love and compassion and emotional intelligence, then that's what they learn, and that's their normal. And so then we're supporting, all of these generations coming through to be the best versions of themselves as well.
Yeah.
And life is actually supposed to be fun. And it took me a long time to learn that, but it's true.
Yeah, it took me a lifetime, really. I remember someone telling me in my early 20s, life is not as difficult as you make it. I still find it a bit challenging at times, but it's much more fun than it was when I was younger. And something I read not long ago as well is, if you have a dream, make it happen, because if you keep dreaming, it will never happen. And the best way to do that is to challenge yourself and to discover yourself at a deeper level, and get support with that, and soldier on.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing I would say is find support, have a mentor. That's one thing that I've always been very good at, because I actually had no idea. I realized I had no idea how to do life. And so I got a mentor who taught me. And then now I've got another mentor and business coaches and everything. And it's the easiest way from A to Z is to be mentored and have someone that you resonate with to support you on that. On the
and not
journey.
reinvent the wheel.
No, wow, no, don't do it the hard way. That's what I used to do a lot. Fiercely independent. I had to be on my knees to surrender to support.
Yeah.
Choose pleasure over pain. Choose pleasure over pain. That's what I'd like. That's what I'd like to my take-home message.
That's a great message. I love what you're doing. I love the energy you put into it, and also the difference you make in people's lives. So thank you so much for doing what you do and for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's been beautiful.
Thank you. And if you want to know more about Mel, her website is called successonpurpose.com.au.
.net. I actually need to change over to .com.
So get in touch with Mel. She's wonderful. Thank you, Mel.
Gorgeous. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.